Hi everyone, this is Tisch Aitken, and I'm here to discuss what's going on astrologically. And as usual, there is quite a lot in the cosmos. So we are about to have Mercury retrograde on Sunday, February 16th, and it is going to station at 12 of the mutable water sign of Pisces. And it's going to be remain in Pisces really on and off until April 11th. It briefly re-enters the sign of Aquarius where it's exalted. It's a very good placement in Aquarius and innovative and quick. It's going to be there from March 4th until March 16th, and then it's going to re-enter the sign of Pisces, and it's going to station direct on March 10th. So we are dealing with, we've been dealing with this story since the very beginning of February when it entered its shadow. And it's about reassessing, returning to things, reconnecting, restructuring, repairing. And I would say in Pisces, it's definitely about restoring and and it's a very emotional placement of Mercury. It's not an easy placement in Pisces. And I remember a few years ago that when there were several planets in Pisces, this was March of 2016, people were really feeling lost at sea. And Pisces does rule the ocean, among other things. And this is a time to load up on your crystals and to protect yourself. The song Crystal Ship will have a whole other meaning in this Pisces season because we're going to be feeling lost at sea. And you want to arm yourself with ways to shield from negativity, from fear, from where the imagination can lead you. And that's the key word with Pisces and with Neptune is imagination, and also about the dream. So you want to find ways to practice self-healing, to practice meditating and manifesting and remaining positive in difficult times, because we're still dealing with the aftermath of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which occurred at the world axis. And many astrologers, we've all been talking about what a big deal this is, and we've been talking about it for quite a while. I think I reiterate the point basically every video, but the truth is we're dealing with that story. And unfortunately, we're seeing this horrible epidemic with the contravirus at the world level. It seems to be uncontained right now, and these are very perilous times. So we need to find ways with Mercury and Pisces, because Pisces also on the higher level is very much about healing, about spirituality, about faith, about compassion. And in such a difficult time, we need to find ways to connect to that. And, Venus also just entered the sign of Aries. Venus in Aries is a very fiery goddess, and she entered Aries on February 6th, I believe. I'm a little spaced myself with Pisces, but and she will remain in in Aries until March 4th. And that's the day that that Mercury re-enters the sign of Aquarius. But Venus in Aries is very fiery. It's also in its detriment. So we have two personal planets in their detriment, and it's aggressive and a bit combative, and it's passionate, but it's combative. And so I think with this that people could be reactive, they can be they could be combative. They could be also very sensitive. I think it's to tap into the passion of Venus and Aries and into the imagination of Mercury and Pisces and figure a way to, channel all the creativity that's available to you. And I also feel that with Mars is going to enter Capricorn on Sunday, the same day that Mercury stations. And it's going to remain in Capricorn until March 31st. And Mars in Capricorn it's exalted in the sign of Capricorn. It's a very ambitious placement. Mars is how we get things done. It's a great time to accomplish things. As we get a little later in the year, we have to all remind ourselves that there are going to be a lot more retrogrades. Venus is retrograding in May from the 13th until June 25th. And later in the year, Mars is going to retrograde from September 9th until November 14th. but they're going to be in a shadow before that. I will talk about that more later in the year. But basically, there are longer periods. Those are also personal planets that don't retrograde annually. So that's a bigger deal. And that to me is, Mercury retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year for approximately 3 weeks. We can't really do much about it except do the things that are helpful with it. When Venus and Mars retrograde, that's more of a time that you do not want to initiate something really important. You don't want to, if you can avoid it, you really want to plan when those planets are not retrograde. So I feel that this is a time to reconnect to what you've been trying to create, what you've been working with the Capricorn story, and also realizing that Mars and Capricorn is going to meet up in March with the South Node on March 7th. That's a difficult placement, but difficult aspect, but that's also letting go. It's going to meet up with Jupiter. It's going to meet up with Pluto and Saturn. I think it's all by the 20th. But, so that's also going to center in and focus on all these stories that Capricorn have brought up, the Capricorn tale has brought up for you. What do you need to work on? What do you need to structure? Where do you need to take accountability? And what do you need to release? Because Saturn and Pluto, well, together can be death. And as we're seeing with that epidemic, it is a big, big deal, Saturn and Pluto. And I don't mean to sound ominous. It's just that these are difficult times. What I do mean to enforce is that you want to really figure out what your story is, where you need to work on, and what you want to manifest too, because Saturn is a manifesting planet. People don't usually acknowledge that, but that's where we structure our dream. And now with Mercury and Pisces, reconnecting to what you want to manifest in your life as well. So I wish you a lot of luck. This is going to be an interesting Mercury retrograde. I think it's going to be a difficult one, but I think it can be very creative. And I would tap into that. If you write, if you paint, if you make music, do things like that. Take time to yourself a little bit. All right. And I wish you luck. Thank you. Take care.